In today's news, we see 6 more persons succumbing to COVID-19 here in the BVI within the last 48 hours. Also, BVI residents are now being accused of falsifying COVID results to travel to the USVI.
A vaccination rate among public officers and law enforcement agencies too low. And this is from the Deputy Governor David Archer Jr. And residents waiting too long to report COVID-19 symptoms to the authorities. All this and much more after a word from our sponsors.
You value traditions. Today. You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, July 21st. I'm Kamal Haynes.
My name is Javon Wilson, and of course, we are so happy to welcome you to another edition of 284 News. We're coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands, of course, bringing you local updates as well as regional and international. Now, topping our headlines, we see the Minister of Health revealing just last night via VIP Let's Talk that now 80% of BVI landers and residents rather in the territory will now need to be vaccinated based on the suspected Delta variant being present in the territory. That is some 24,000 persons. Also, we see BVI residents, they are now being accused of falsifying COVID-19 travel results, of course, to travel to the USVI. Now, this was revealed by Honorable Malone, who said that U.S. authorities alerted him of the issue. Now, during last night's radio program, Honorable Malone said, and I quote, "They are so kind. They say, well, look, we don't want to embarrass them, so we don't want to arrest them." Malone related. He further said, "I told them, arrest them, charge them, give me their names, ranks, and serial numbers so that we can get this stopped." A new issue arising as we continue to pivot our way through this COVID crisis. The Minister of Health also revealing just last night that very protocols will be released soon. He did quote that by today or tomorrow, Thursday, persons who lost loved ones to COVID-19, they will be eventually briefed on how to go about that burial process. He also said that he met with the coroner recently, recently, and details will follow in short order. Now, his statement has seen some pushback from residents since last night. One resident said, and I quote, "It is truly very sad since the unfortunate passing of our first COVID victim last year, God bless her soul. These things should have already been in place and fine-tuned so that in the unlikely event that we would have had more deaths, we'd be well prepared for them. The victims' families and friends need closure, and I pray that the officials will be able to make that process as comfortable as possible for all persons affected." And finally, we see at-large Representative and Junior Minister of Trade, Honorable Shereen Charles, finally getting vaccinated. She had initially indicated that she won't be able to do so because of health complications. However, it seems that she was given the all clear by her doctor, and now she is now appealing to persons and encouraging them to have the same conversations with their doctor and, of course, get vaccinated. Kamal, I think we're going to head straight into our newscast for today. Now, based on reports coming out from yesterday, July 20th, 23 persons have now succumbed to coronavirus here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, the July 20th press release sent out by the Ministry of Health stated that 5 of the victims died at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, while 1 passed away at home. The release said, and I quote, "The deceased are a 50-year-old female who died on July 18th, a 71-year-old male, a 66-year-old female, a 41-year-old female, and a 74-year-old female who died on July 19th, and a 67-year-old male who died yesterday. 5 persons died at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, and 1 person died at home." End of quote. Now, viewers, the ministry also confirmed that active cases have now decreased to 1,604 in the territory, with those reduction in the daily increases of new cases. And again, I repeat, there is seemingly a reduction in the daily increase of new cases. This record was based on the territory's July 18th epidemiological update. Now, Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Carvin Malone, expressed condolences to the families and friends of those who are hurting and mourning the loss of their loved ones on behalf of the government. He said, and I quote, "This is a difficult time for all of us here in the territory. We have never seen a situation like this unfold. I pray that God continues to grant us favor and mercy to see us through this very troubling time." Honorable Malone further stated, and I quote, "We met with a team of 45 doctors who have pledged their support, and we are calling on the nurses, active, retired, at home, or abroad, to lend services and support at this very important moment." Now, viewers, the acting chief medical officer, Dr. Ronald George, has said, and I quote, "Persons who test positive for COVID-19 need to disclose their positive status, especially if they live in a household with other people. We are seeing a number of occurrences of persons not disclosing and therefore endangering persons around them." Dr. George has, of course, had initially stated that the majority of these severe COVID cases that we're seeing on a daily are not immunized against the virus. He said, and I quote, "The more serious cases and the hospitalized ones are principally unvaccinated," and of course implored persons to get the jab. Viewers, I want to remind persons who are interested in taking the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine that they can do so via the Operation Protect Each Other vaccination drive-through, of course, which was launched last weekend. It also remains in effect up until this Saturday. So persons seeking their first or second jab can head on out between July 20th, which was yesterday, to the 24th, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Well, viewers, now to news of vaccination rate. According to the Deputy Governor David Archer Jr., he has said that the vaccination rate among public officers and law enforcement agencies in the British Virgin Islands is far too low. Well, the Deputy Governor made this disclosure during a statement which was issued on social media on Tuesday, July 20th, as he urged more public service officers and the wider territory to get vaccinated. Well, he said it is important that a wider section of the public service get vaccinated to first protect themselves and to minimize future disruptions of its service delivery to residents. Take a listen.
I make a special plea to the 2,600 public officers. Our vaccination numbers are too low. They are too low. We've already lost 3 employees. And you all know we've been significantly impacted daily by persons who test positive or have been in contact with someone who has. While we've made a strong commitment to serving our clients and our services continue, any day now, this could be altered. Please, give the public service the best chance by becoming vaccinated. At this time, I also make an urgent plea to our law enforcement agencies. Your vaccination rates are also too low. You are our defense, and we trust you. But unless you are protected, you cannot protect yourself and you cannot protect us. I offer my time and my energy to work with you and converse with you so that our law enforcement agencies can be better protected.
Well, the Deputy Governor also revealed the territory's latest vaccination statistics, stating that more than 15,000 persons are now fully vaccinated and over 10,000 persons are partially inoculated with their first dose of the vaccine.
Over the past week, with the great efforts, approximately 125 persons that I know personally decide to give themselves a fighting chance of living through COVID-19 by being vaccinated. I thank them and the many volunteers who assisted with the recent drives. They joined and has made a total of 15,620 persons that have been fully vaccinated, 10,810 that are partially vaccinated, for a total of 26,501. BVI, we are well on our way, but we have more work to be done.
Well, Archer further pointed to stats which has revealed that 100% of the territory's 23 deaths were unvaccinated. In addition, he reiterated his point that of the total hospitalization numbers, just one person was vaccinated and they were soon released from the hospital. Take a listen.
As recorded, COVID-19 has claimed over 4 million lives globally. More than 600,000 lives in the United States. Over 150,000 lives in the United Kingdom. Upwards of 1.3 million lives in Latin America and the Caribbean. 1.3 million lives in Latin America and the Caribbean. And 23 lives in our very own BVI. Of the persons that died in the United States, the CDC reported that 99.5% were unvaccinated. 99.5% were unvaccinated. Of the 23 persons who died and left ripples of hurt in our very own BVI community, 100% were unvaccinated. Of the persons who were hospitalized as a result of COVID-19, all except one were unvaccinated. One thing that is also accurate, most persons who were sick and ended up in specialized care units have died.
But the Deputy Governor added that the only way forward to successfully combat this COVID-19 pandemic is to get as many persons as possible vaccinated. And Javon, we heard the Deputy Governor here just pleading with everyone to get vaccinated. Obviously, the territory is in a very sticky situation with more than 1,600 cases. So he's just pleading for persons just to please get vaccinated.
Yes, and that's the message we've been hearing pushed by many officials across the territory. As you continue to examine these lives, though, and you look at the comment sections, I think what you see is residents more and more really calling for doctors, experts, officials who really understand the vaccine, the makeup of it, the fallouts, and everything that that you need to know about the vaccine. They're calling for those persons to come to the forefront and have conversations. So yes, we do see officials doing what they can and trying their utmost best to encourage people to get vaccinated, but we do trust and hope that the requisite persons can come forward and speak on this as well.
Well, Javon, I do agree with you as it pertains to persons coming forward and wanting the expertise of doctors. But as we would have seen, there are doctors, there are professionals, medical professionals coming forward on a daily basis, not only on the television, not only on 284 Media, but also on their personal Facebook pages, pleading with persons to get vaccinated. But there are those persons that keep spreading the misinformation, believing that they have the ultimate knowledge.
Yes, there's a lot of Facebook experts right now. Everybody's a COVID expert on Facebook, unfortunately. But as we go deeper into what's happening, and clearly it's a fluid situation, we still need to be updated on a daily basis. And I think in the absence of that, there is some anxiety that is brewing. So we're just hoping that the conversation continues. Now, viewers, still ahead of the break, we see police being forced to use pepper spray to disperse crowd gatherings. We have all the details for this story and so much more when 284 News returns. Stick with us.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now we're seeing the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force aggressively pursuing residents in the BVI who are now found violating the public health orders. Now, just recently, police officers were forced to use pepper spray in an effort to disperse a crowd of persons who were found in violation of measures instituted to slow the aggressive spread of COVID-19 in the territory, of course, resulting in some over 1,600 active cases and unfortunately 23 confirmed deaths. Now, according to the acting deputy commissioner, Mrs. Jacqueline Vanterpool, she's noted that gatherings of any kind, even outdoors, are still in breach of the public health orders and must cease if the territory is to reduce the rapid transmission of the COVID-19 virus. Mrs. Vanterpool said, and I quote, "Despite the present public health warnings, persons around the territory are still gathering around domino tables at their favorite watering holes and outdoor spots. The present COVID suppression orders prohibits these types of gatherings since it does not allow enough social distance between persons to prevent transmission. It is very difficult not to take part in these daily practices, but we must in order to save lives," she noted. Now, viewers, the acting deputy noted one officer had to discharge pepper spray in the vicinity to disperse well over a dozen individuals that had gathered around a domino game in East End after his direct order was not obeyed. The individuals disbanded temporarily, but returned an hour later to continue their game. Establishments are also being penalized. Mrs. Vanterpool said, and I quote once again, "We are also seeing persons traveling by boat during the curfew hours of 7 p.m. to 5 p.m. The restrictions of movement around the territory applies to both vehicle and boat traffic. If you are out and about after 7 p.m. without a new July 2021 police-issued pass, you will be arrested for violation of the curfew order. Those who possess one of the new passes must have them in hand along with identification. One person's failure to act according to the law affects all of us," she noted. Now, viewers, of course, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is ensuring that persons do not contravene any of the COVID suppression measures as laid out by the Public Health Order 2021 and the COVID control and suppression regulations that establish prescribed social distancing requirements. We do see, Kamal, the police has their hands full. A lot of persons, even within this dire situation in the territory of over 1,600 cases. And yes, we are seeing recoveries and we are noting those recoveries, but it's still a very challenging time for us here in the territory. The hospital is clearly overwhelmed. Our medical facilities and resources are clearly overwhelmed, but still persons are not adhering to protocols. And we do see the police trying their best to ensure that persons follow the rules.
Totally agreed, Jovan. And this story is very concerning considering the situation in the territory. I mean, what more needs to be done? I mean,
Yes.
there's already 1,600 cases in the BVI. The most, obviously, for such a small country, I think is the highest per capita when you look at the cases per person.
Yes.
And it's very concerning, and the fact that you have persons basically disregarding the COVID-19 measures is almost like they don't want the situation here in the BVI to get better. And obviously, if you continue to social gather and not social distance, and a lot of these persons are not wearing their masks, you know, so obviously it creates an environment basically where the disease have more breeding ground to spread.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things even Ron and I were speaking about initially. You know, when you look at what has transpired over the last couple of weeks, we cannot continue to blame the government. We cannot continue to blame the health officials. We have dropped the ball as the population. And until we are willing to do what is right and really abide by these protocols, we're not going to be able to arrest this virus and ensure that the curve is slowed.
Okay, we're turning its page now to news involving, in terms of news regarding the acting CEO of the BVI Health Service Authority, where she's basically stating that persons are taking too long to report their symptoms to the authorities. Our residents are waiting far too long to report their COVID-19 symptoms to the relevant local healthcare professionals, and as a result are arriving in the emergency room at a Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital too late. But this was the sentiment shared by the acting Chief Executive Officer of the BVI Health Services Authority, Shereen Malone Smith, who made a statement during a recent COVID-19 update. Well, according to the acting CEO, persons who take too long to present themselves to the authorities create a greater risk of suffering more severe complications from the COVID-19 virus. Take a listen.
Dr. George just talked just now about folks coming into the emergency room coming in a little bit late. If you're not feeling well, please do as Dr. George is saying. Call the hotline, 852-7650. Call 911. It's better for you to come in, get assessed, be stabilized, and sent home than stay home until you get so sick that when you come to the hospital, we're trying to figure out how to get you back to some kind of stable place and hopefully to some kind of help. It is a lot more that has to be done when somebody comes in and they're a lot sicker than we hoped they would have been presenting earlier. So please, if you feel not well, make a call. We will do an assessment. They have the COVID tracker where you can call, where you can check it online and put your symptoms in and see where you fall, and you will get a contact from somebody from public health to talk you through the process. Please do not wait. Please do not wait.
Well, the acting CEO also said that her staff at the hospital have been experiencing burnout due to the overwhelming increase of patients, which has resulted in the operations working at full capacity. But she therefore appealed to all persons who are interested in assisting the staff in some form of operational role to contact the hospital as soon as possible.
We actively are looking for staff to come in and help us. This week we put out an ad for retired nurses, retired clinical persons who, if they want to, can come in and help us. Because our staff is now working at full capacity, beyond capacity in some instances. They're not accustomed to seeing this much death and dying all at once. So there's some breakdowns happening, some burnout going on. But we have to continue to work. We're not one of those teams that can say that we're going to work from home. We haven't discovered that magic yet of how to do active medical care from home. There has to be some hands-on, and we are the ones that have chosen healthcare, so we have to go and do the work. But I need you all to help us help this territory to get back on its feet.
Well, you heard it, viewers. All interested persons can contact the BVI Health Services Authority to assist our medical frontline staff where possible.
All right, still ahead of the break, we see government now looking into making travel to the USVI more affordable for persons intent on taking the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. Of course, BVI residents. We have all the details right after this commercial break, so stick with us.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. I think this is some good news. I think residents of the BVI who have been really pushing to get the alternatives, Pfizer and Moderna shots, now they can now be able to travel to the USVI by way of an agreement that is being finalized between the government of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands for them to access that Moderna or Pfizer COVID-19 shot. Now, a lot of persons have been questioning the cost associated to that decision because as of right now, there is a $400 to $500 cost. But even as that possibility, viewers, becomes a reality, they continue to question also why local government isn't pursuing the equipment necessary to facilitate storage of those other COVID-19 brands as seen in the USVI. Now, when questioned on whether the government has been considering securing those brands for distributions within the territory, Honorable Carvin Malone, that is, the Minister of Health, said, and I quote, "No, not at this time," end of quote. Like we mentioned before, residents have really continued to speak on the cost, the exponential cost associated with now having to travel to the USVI to secure these shots. Now, based on reports, local residents are required to pay up to some $500 for travel to the USVI and back by boat. Our newsroom reached out to Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, to confirm whether considerations will be given to the reduction of costs associated with travel for these vaccines. In response, the Premier said, and I quote, "Fully agreed, yes, new measures are now being finalized by government to facilitate this new initiative. that will make it more affordable, for persons who decide to take this course of action. These and more measures your government continues to facilitate to assist our people in the fight against the worst worldwide pandemic in the last 100 years. With God's help, together we will defeat COVID. Let's get vaccinated. Vaccination saves lives. That was the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, bringing some level of hope to persons who are intent on traveling to the USVI to secure their Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 shots.
Well, now to news of cruise ship which would have made its way to the territory today. But the BVI welcomed the second passenger cruise ship, Seabourn Odyssey, which berthed in the territory today, Wednesday, July 21st. But this was confirmed by the BVI Ports Authority, which said the vessel did not allow any person to exit on land in the territory. Well, in a media release by the Ports Authority, but they said that today's call was just one of two expected in this month, with the second call scheduled for Thursday, July 29th. Well, according to the information received, Seabourn Odyssey made its call to White Bay Pier Island, with specific instructions made to passengers and crew members that no one was permitted ashore. But the Ports Authority said Seabourn Odyssey will be offering its ship marina for guests to enjoy water-based activities in the harbor. All passengers and crew on board Odyssey were required to be fully vaccinated and have to have a negative COVID-19 test prior to their arrival in the territory. But meanwhile, still on news involving cruise vessels in the BVI, Premier Foy recently moved the motion to have Cruising and Home Port Permit Act 2021 passed in the House of Assembly. Well, according to the Premier, this new act will allow for cruise ships to commence their sailing from the BVI, providing the territory with more economic opportunities in the near future. Take a listen.
One of the innovative ways that we're doing with the Cruising and Home Permit Act, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the amendments going to go into it also, is first of all to encourage home ports, Mr. Speaker, issuing of home ports right here in the BVI, so that we can encourage cruises in the future to start from here in the BVI and give a reduced payment to the ships per head and other fees if they start their cruises right here in the BVI. We may not start with the big cruise ships one time, but at least those mid-range ones or the smaller ones will be able to start. And who knows, you never know if you can start with the big cruise ships, because you can't limit God and how he works for our territory. But this also will have a spillover effect, not only for the cruise ships and starting cruises from BVI, and we're thinking ahead and thinking innovatively. We're also looking at making sure that we have more of boats that will be registered here in the BVI for, especially those on charter, for way smaller fee than those that would come to try to use our waters, legally of course, that are not registered in the BVI. So we're also looking about how to adjust certain fees for the cruise ship during this time of COVID-19. And Mr. Speaker, for this, we've had a lot of consultation on this with the marine sector. They have handed in some of their recommendations. And we also have the Virgin Islands Shipping Registry, Customs, Immigration, ports, and even Tourist Board that weighed in. And we're looking, Mr. Speaker, at how to attract more persons to the BVI from in this marine sector, not only with the home porting, but overall. And Mr. Speaker, I think that we have done a very good job, all of us together, working as one people.
Well, there you hear it, viewers. Well, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And my name is Javon Wilson. I want to thank you so much for making time to join us today, of course, for your daily dose of local, regional, as well as international content. Join us again tomorrow. My name is Javon Wilson again, saying good evening. Bye-bye.